What up? It's your boy T-Bone here, Reaction. Today is Wrestling Wednesday, and we're going to continue some more WrestleMania-like video. This one's another one from Cultaholic. I realized I said WrestleMania. That's what actually Cultaholic I did last video, though. Sorry. My nose kind of runny. I apologize. But anyway, we want to check out. Now, we took out 10 stars who never had a match on WrestleMania. Now, we're going to check out. Now, they're going to check out the 10 stars who were lucky to get a match on WrestleMania, but never won a match at WrestleMania. So we're gonna take a look at 10 wrestlers who had the opportunity but never got a win. So without further ado, let's check this out.
Many of WWE's all-time greats have had their careers change at WrestleMania thanks to a major victory. Stone Cold Steve Austin beating Shawn Michaels, John Cena beating JBL, Booker T beating Oh wait, he lost, didn't he? Anyway, what we're trying to say is that a win at the biggest show of the year is obviously a great thing, which is why it must absolutely suck to be any of the following losers. I'm Adam Pacitti from Cultaholic Wrestling, and these are 10 wrestlers who have shockingly never won at WrestleMania. Join us.
But first, who is the Diesel to your Shawn Michaels? Who is the
Alright, hold up a second. One, I'm freezing like crazy. And two, give me a second. Alright, I'm back. Let's keep going.
Number 10, Big E and Xavier Woods.
Ooh.
When Kofi Kingston captured the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 35, it was only his second ever win at the event. Still, that is two better than the two men who were at ringside with him, who still haven't even racked up one victory at the Showcase of the Immortals. Big E actually made his in-ring debut at WrestleMania, teaming with Dolph Ziggler in a losing effort at 29. Xavier Woods made his first Mania appearance the year after in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, which he obviously didn't win. Woods and E would next appear on the Mania main card as part of the New Day's losing effort to the God Remember Them League of Nations at 32. No combination of the New Day has ever been successful at Mania, and Big E also lost his Intercontinental Championship to Apollo Crews in a God Remember That Nigerian drum fight at 38. The popular faction is long overdue a big win on this stage, and there's still plenty of time for them to get it. Hey, maybe Woods can even have a singles match at Mania one day. Is that really too much to ask? Number 9, R-Truth. Another currently active wrestler with a shocking record on the big night is everyone's favorite ageless wonder, R-Truth. Seriously, how is this man over half a century old? It's actually frightening. Ron Killings has appeared on the main Mania card 5 times in his career, including opening the show at number 26. You know, as part of his ultra-successful and popular tag team with John Morrison. You know the one. He and Mr. Morrison were unsuccessful in their efforts to dethrone tag team champion Show Miz, which set the disappointing precedent for Truth's future Mania showings. He was on the wrong side of Team Johnny versus Team Teddy, and he wasn't Cesaro in the first Andre Battle Royal. He opened the show again as part of the IC title ladder match at Mania 31 before turning up in the Battle Royal again at 32. To date, this was the former K-Quick's final WrestleMania appearance. Although he's still bafflingly youthful, the chances of him getting another showcase match at the Show of Shows are unfortunately pretty slim. Now watch him dethrone Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40 just to prove me wrong. Number 8, Ken Shamrock. UFC icon Ken Shamrock actually first appeared at WrestleMania as the special guest referee for the excellent Bret Hart vs. Steve Austin match at WrestleMania 13. Whilst we would love to give him a win for those lovely little shorts, that is sadly not how this works. 1 year later, Shamrock would get his first Mania match when he challenged The Rock for the Intercontinental title. They had one of the better rivalries heading into the show, and now was the time to blow it all off with a big win for Kenny. Or so we thought. The fighter actually got Rocky to tap out, but was later disqualified for not breaking his ankle lock when told to do so. 1 year later, Shamrock was once again unsuccessful in his hunt for the IC belt. This time, he was part of a 4 corners elimination match where he got counted out. So technically, Shamrock has never actually been beaten at WrestleMania, presumably because everybody was too scared to tell him he had to get pinned. I'd be too scared to ask him to move in a supermarket. Number 7, Paul Orndorf. Though his legend isn't quite as big today, it is important to remember that Paul Orndorf was once considered enough of a star to main event the very first WrestleMania. As part of a tag team match pitting himself and Roddy Piper against Hulk Hogan and Mr. T, Orndorf was pivotal to that maiden show's success and, as a result, the success of every subsequent WrestleMania. Unfortunately, Paul and Piper lost that first main event because there's no way the Hulkster and the T-Man were jobbing out at Madison Square Garden, Jack. The following year at WrestleMania 2, Orndorf fought Don Morocco in the opening match. That contest ended in a double countout, which is always the best way to open a pay-per-view if you ask me. Despite his legendary feud with Hogan in 1986, he wouldn't wrestle another match on the flagship show. This was due to nerve damage suffered, causing his arm to atrophy and robbing him of what surely would have been many memorable WrestleMania moments. However, this sad end does nothing to diminish Orndorf's legacy, nor the legacy of the amazing moustache he grew later in life. Now that is what I call wonderful. Number 6, Ryback. Old Musclehead the Rizbiz was always banging on about how he wanted people to feed him more, but what he really wanted to be fed was some wins at WrestleMania, because the big guy is 0-4 at the granddaddy of them all. His first loss was the most egregious of all, at least at the time. Squaring off with Mark Henry at WrestleMania 29, Ryback did the job after simply falling onto his face while trying to hit the world's strongest man with Shell-Shocked. A flat and rather bizarre finish, doubly so considering WWE had him start a main event feud with WWE champion John Cena the very next night. You forget just how hot Ryback was at one time. I mean, WWE certainly did, since his next 3 Mania outings all took place on the pre-show portion of the show. At Mania 30, he unsuccessfully partnered with Curtis Axel in a 4-way WWE Tag Team title match, also featuring the Real Americans and Los Matadores, and inevitably won by the Usos. At 31, he was just a face in the crowd in the Andre Battle Royal, while at 32, he failed to wrest the US title away from Kalisto in one of his last matches with the company before his release. Number 5, Sid. It's been said a lot, but it bears repeating.
Yep, that is true. He never won. I was thinking about that. Dang, Sid never won on me. I just thought about that. Wow.
Hell did Sid manage to snag the main event in both of his WrestleMania appearances. After Hulk Hogan pulled him out of the Royal Rumble like the sore loser he was, he and Sid Justice were set to face off in the final match of WrestleMania 8. In reality, this should have been Hogan versus Ric Flair, but we were clearly all horrible people in a past life, so that never happened. This match isn't famous for the wrestling, which was pretty bad by the way, but rather the botched run-in of Papa Shango. The Voodoo Priest being off meant that Sid was forced to kick out of Hogan's legendary leg drop finisher before Harvey Whippleman caused the DQ instead. WrestleMania, baby. 5 years later, Sid was defending the WWE Championship against The Undertaker. Once again, this match is more famous for an in-ring faux pas, as Sid allegedly pooped his pants while getting hoisted up for the match-ending tombstone.
Oh my God.
This has never been proven, by the way, but please, Lord, let it be true. 2 Mania main events, 2 losses, 2 absolute stinkers. Literally in one case. Number 4, XPac. Even though he joined WWE when he still needed a permission slip from his parents, Sean Waltman has only competed at their biggest show twice. As XPac, he faced Shane McMahon at WrestleMania 15 for the Heir to the Throne's European Championship. In a surprisingly competent outing for Shane, the young prince stole a victory when Triple H turned on his buddy and joined the corporation. It's okay, Sean, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn couldn't beat Shane at Mania either. 1 year later, and after cruelly turning his back on Kane, Pac squared off against the Big Red Machine in a match that probably should have been one-on-one. But instead, he teamed up with Road Dogg whilst the Demon paired up with Rikishi? What do those two have in common? Is Glenn Jacobs secretly part of the Bloodline? Anyway, this match went about 4 minutes and was a bit rubbish. Pac took the pin off a Kane tombstone, and then a man dressed as a chicken got in the ring to continue the feud between Kane and retired baseball player Pete Rose. This would be XPac's last ever WrestleMania match, discounting the pre-show 6-man outing he had a year later. What a way to go out. Number 3, William Regal.
Really?
William Regal embodies the English sense of order so much that even his WrestleMania matches have a symmetry to them. His lordship had the honor of opening proceedings at the greatest WrestleMania of all time, X7 in 2001. After weeks of Chris Jericho getting under his skin, as well as him doing some other stuff involving T-Box, then Commissioner Regal finally snapped and booked himself to face Y2J for the IC title in Houston. After a great back and forth contest, the Canadian defeated the Brit in a match that must have been super cathartic for anyone who hated the Commonwealth. At Mania 18, Regal was once again on first and once again involved with the Intercontinental title. This time he was defending the gold against Rob Van Dam, and once again he ended the match looking up at the lights. Opening WrestleMania is not an easy task, so it speaks volumes to how much faith WWE had in Regal to let him do it 2 years in a row. Though he would never grace the grandest stage again, Blackpool's greatest export only needed 2 goes at it to make his mark. Number 2, the Dudley Boyz. They are one of the greatest tag teams of all time, but they couldn't buy a win at WrestleMania. Bubba Ray and Devon's Mania debut came in the absolute car wreck that was the Triangle Ladder match at WrestleMania 2000. By the way, I'm using the phrase car wreck in a positive sense here. This match rules. 12 months after Edge and Christian won that match, the Canadian duo were once again victorious in its evolved form, the second ever TLC match at Mania X7. Even with little Spike on their side, the Dudleys came up short and lost their championships once again. To be fair, Edge and Christian had Rhino as their backup, which is seriously unfair. Their final 2 Mania main card appearances were both in fatal 4-ways. At Mania 18, they watched on as Billy and Chuck retained their gold. Then at Mania 20, it was Booker T and Rob Van Dam who left the skirmish as champs. Throw in a loss to the Usos on the WrestleMania 32 pre-show, and the lads from Dudleyville have one of the worst success rates in the show's history. Maybe it's breaking tables that gives 7 years bad luck, not mirrors. Number 1, Goldust. 7. No, not the gimmick from WCW that we don't like to talk about, but rather the number of WrestleMania main cards Dustin Rhodes has lost on. His first defeat came during the Hollywood Backlot Brawl with Roddy Piper at WrestleMania 12. A year on, he found himself losing to a future legend when he ate a pedigree from Hunter Hearst Helmsley. He lost a mixed tag at 14, was in the same 4-way IC title match as Ken Shamrock at 15, and then lost a hardcore title match to Maven of all people at 18. He then vanished from the Mania main card for 12 years, cropping up again in the Andre Battle Royal at 30. One more Battle Royal loss at 32, and you have a septuplet of shame for the Bizarre One. Considering how long he was in the company for, and how prominent his character was at times, you would have thought that WWE would have thrown poor Dustin a bone at some point over the years. Hang on. He was in 2 more Battle Royals on 2 Mania pre-shows, and he didn't win those either. Talk about a black rain, hey?
Lord. But anyway, yes, that's very interesting though. Some of them I can see, some of them is like very interesting, like Sid and all that. I have another thought about it. Then again, had to think about it a little bit. Shamrock, a little surprised. Regal definitely surprisable too. But yeah, sometimes it's good to have the moment, but we can't always win the moment at WrestleMania. So other than that, if you like my reaction, like, share, subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's your boy T-Bear signing off. One love.